Many people believe that reheating food is completely harmless. Microwave it, warm it up, and eat it without a second thought. Yet, the truth is more nuanced, and understanding it can help you make safer, more informed choices about your meals. Certain foods undergo chemical changes when cooked, cooled, and then reheated, which can produce compounds that place stress on organs like the pancreas over time. While this does not mean every leftover meal is dangerous, repeated exposure to these compounds may increase inflammation and metabolic stress. According to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and the World Health Organization, WHO, the formation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, and other heat-induced compounds in reheated foods can contribute to cellular stress, oxidative damage, and inflammation in the body, factors that are recognized to play a role in long-term organ strain. Understanding this process can feel complex, but an easy way to imagine it is to picture your pancreas as a factory that quietly processes nutrients every day. When it is repeatedly exposed to irritants, such as heat-altered compounds from certain reheated foods, the factory must work harder and over time may experience increased wear and tear. In practical terms, this means that even everyday foods, if repeatedly reheated, can slowly impact your digestive and metabolic systems if eaten consistently over years. A common mistake many people make is leaving cooked food at room temperature for hours, then microwaving it until it's piping hot, believing this removes all risks. The reality, supported by CDC and NHS food safety guidance, is that certain bacteria or toxins can survive improper storage or repeated heating, which can place additional stress on your digestive organs. For example, leaving rice or pasta out for extended periods before reheating can allow Bacillus cereus, a bacteria known to produce heat-resistant toxins, to grow. Even when reheated, some of these toxins may persist, potentially triggering inflammation. These inflammatory processes can affect organs like the pancreas indirectly, because inflammation in one area of the digestive system can ripple through interconnected pathways in the body. Beyond bacterial concerns, chemical transformations are also significant. Proteins and sugars in food can react when repeatedly heated, creating compounds that are more difficult for the body to process. Harvard Health explains that AGEs, which form during high heat cooking and repeated heating, can accelerate oxidative stress and inflammation. In the pancreas, this may mean the organ has to produce more insulin or digestive enzymes to compensate, leading to chronic strain if this pattern is frequent. Visualize this as a machine running slightly over its intended capacity repeatedly. Nothing breaks immediately, but over years the extra load adds up. Practical lifestyle adjustments can mitigate these risks. Cooling food promptly after cooking, storing it at proper temperatures, and reheating only once are simple steps that significantly reduce bacterial growth and chemical changes. Incorporating a variety of fresh vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins alongside reheated foods can also ease the workload on your pancreas. Mindful eating, regular physical activity, adequate sleep, and stress management further support overall metabolic and digestive health. By understanding these factors and adopting small, consistent habits, you reduce long-term strain on vital organs and promote a healthier balance in your body. The key takeaway is that food handling, storage, and reheating patterns matter more than most people realize, and even small changes in daily routines can have significant long-term benefits. Processed meats like sausages, hot dogs, bacon, and deli slices are popular in many households for their convenience and flavor, but when reheated, especially at high temperatures, they can form compounds that may stress your body over time. Scientific research, including studies referenced by the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and PubMed, shows that reheating these meats can increase levels of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, and other heat-related byproducts. AGEs are chemical compounds formed when proteins or fats combine with sugars during high-temperature cooking. In the body, they can promote oxidative stress and inflammation, which are processes that silently strain organs such as the pancreas. Think of your pancreas as a quiet factory producing enzymes and insulin to manage digestion and blood sugar. Repeated exposure to these inflammatory compounds, is like introducing constant smoke into that factory. It doesn't cause immediate breakdown, but over years, the cumulative effect can be significant. A common mistake many people make is assuming that reheating makes food inherently safe. People often fry leftover bacon until it sizzles, reheat hot dogs until they are crispy, or toast leftover deli meat in a pan, believing that the more thoroughly cooked, the safer it is. In reality, repeated high heat exposure can actually increase the formation of chemical compounds that the body has to work harder to process. The Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic both discuss how high temperature cooking of processed and red meats produces substances such as heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which are known to contribute to inflammation and cellular stress when consumed frequently over time. While enjoying processed meats occasionally is generally considered acceptable, making a habit of reheating them multiple times can create a pattern of repeated stress on your digestive and metabolic systems. There's also the issue of portion size and frequency. Many families cook large batches of sausages or deli meats, store them for several days, and reheat multiple times. Each reheating cycle allows chemical transformations to continue, especially if the food is cooked at high temperatures again. Harvard Health highlights that ages accumulate more rapidly with repeated heating and with certain cooking methods such as frying, broiling, or grilling at high temperatures. To put it simply, reheating doesn't reset the food. It often intensifies some of the chemical changes that can be inflammatory. In practical terms, it's helpful to be mindful of how processed meats are stored, reheated, and consumed, limiting the number of times they are reheated using gentler heating methods like steaming or low-temperature warming, and pairing these foods with vegetables and fiber-rich sides can help reduce the metabolic load on the pancreas. Combining these habits with a balanced lifestyle, regular movement, proper sleep, and stress management supports overall digestion and blood sugar regulation. For example, walking after a meal or ensuring a proper balance of proteins and fibers can help your pancreas manage its workload more efficiently, reducing long-term strain. By understanding these patterns, you begin to see that processed meats are not inherently bad, but the way they are handled and reheated makes a difference. Reheating can transform an everyday convenience into a source of repeated inflammatory stress if done excessively. This perspective aligns with guidance from organizations like the NIH, Mayo Clinic, and Cleveland Clinic, which emphasize moderation, mindful cooking methods, and food safety practices as keys to long-term health. Awareness of these factors allows you to make smarter choices in your kitchen while still enjoying the foods you love in a safer, more balanced way. Rice and other starchy foods like pasta and potatoes are staples in households around the world, often praised for their convenience, versatility, and ability to fill you up. However, when these foods are cooked, left at room temperature for extended periods, and then reheated, they can present hidden risks that many people overlook. According to guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and the National Health Service, NHS, cooked rice is particularly susceptible to contamination by Bacillus cereus, a bacteria that can survive cooking and multiply if rice is left out too long. This bacteria produces toxins that can survive even when the rice is reheated, meaning the food might look and smell fine but still contain substances that could trigger inflammation or digestive discomfort. While this does not mean you need to avoid rice or starchy foods entirely, understanding how these processes work is important for long-term digestive and metabolic health. In a moment, we'll explore why this risk extends beyond just foodborne illness and how it can subtly affect the pancreas over time. The pancreas plays a crucial role in regulating blood sugar and producing digestive enzymes. Think of it as a factory that works quietly behind the scenes, keeping your body's energy balance stable. When toxins from improperly stored rice or starchy foods enter your digestive system, your body responds by activating immune and detoxification processes, which can trigger mild inflammation. If this becomes a regular pattern, the pancreas has to work harder to maintain its normal functions, producing more insulin and enzymes to manage digestion and blood sugar. Over the long term, repeated stress on the pancreas can contribute to metabolic strain. Harvard Health and the Mayo Clinic highlight that chronic inflammation and repeated insulin spikes place continuous demands on the pancreas, emphasizing the importance of food handling, timing, and portion control to protect this vital organ. Later, we'll discuss practical strategies to manage leftovers safely so your pancreas doesn't have to compensate unnecessarily. A common mistake many people make is cooking large batches of rice or pasta, leaving them on the counter for hours, and reheating them multiple times throughout the week. Each cooling and reheating cycle allows bacteria to grow and also increases the formation of certain chemical compounds through processes like starch retrogradation, which can make the food harder to digest. PubMed research shows that repeated heating and cooling of starchy foods can alter their glycemic index, meaning that eating them later can cause larger spikes in blood sugar. These spikes force the pancreas to release more insulin than it would with freshly prepared meals, further increasing organ workload. Later, you'll see why combining these foods with fiber and protein can help modulate blood sugar and reduce strain. Proper handling of rice and starchy leftovers involves a few practical habits. Cooling rice promptly after cooking, ideally within an hour, and storing it in the refrigerator at safe temperatures significantly reduces bacterial growth. Reheating should be done only once, and heating should be thorough but not excessive to prevent further chemical changes. Pairing leftover rice or pasta with vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats can slow digestion, reduce blood sugar spikes, and give the pancreas more time to manage insulin release. Incorporating consistent daily habits like moderate exercise, adequate hydration, and stress management also supports metabolic health and reduces overall inflammation. Think of it as giving your pancreas regular maintenance breaks rather than forcing it to work overtime constantly. By understanding the risks associated with reheated rice and starchy foods and implementing careful storage and reheating practices, you can continue to enjoy these staples without placing unnecessary stress on your body. This approach aligns with guidance from the CDC, NHS, Harvard Health, and PubMed research, which emphasize moderation, proper handling, and combining foods strategically to support long-term digestive and metabolic health. Awareness and small adjustments in daily routines can have a significant impact on pancreatic wellness and overall body balance. Fried foods like French fries, fried chicken, tempura, and other deep-fried favorites are beloved for their flavor and crunch. But when these foods are reheated, especially multiple times, they can create compounds that subtly affect your body over time. Oils used in frying, particularly vegetable oils high in polyunsaturated fats, are sensitive to heat and can oxidize when exposed to repeated high temperatures. Oxidation is a chemical process in which fats degrade, producing unstable molecules known as lipid peroxides and aldehydes, which, according to research cited by Harvard Health and the World Health Organization, WHO, can trigger oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. Oxidative stress acts like a slow internal rusting process, damaging cells and creating additional workload for organs involved in digestion and metabolism, including the pancreas. In a moment, we'll explore how this internal stress specifically affects the pancreas, and later you'll learn why changing your approach to reheating can reduce unnecessary strain on your digestive system. A common mistake people make is assuming that microwaving or pan-frying leftover fried foods neutralizes these harmful compounds. Many will reheat French fries until they are crisp again, or warm fried chicken at high heat in the oven, thinking that the reheating process makes it safe or tastier. The reality, according to PubMed research and guidelines from Harvard Health and the Cleveland Clinic, is that reheating fried foods can actually increase the concentration of oxidized compounds. As the repeated exposure to high temperatures continues the chemical degradation of oils. These compounds don't just vanish, they are ingested and must be processed by the liver and pancreas. Think of the pancreas as a factory responsible for producing enzymes to digest fats and sugars and insulin to regulate blood sugar. Introducing oxidized fats repeatedly is like asking the factory to work overtime under strain. Over time, chronic exposure can increase systemic inflammation, which can make blood sugar regulation more challenging and contribute to long-term pancreatic stress. Another overlooked factor is moisture. Many people store fried foods in their original containers after a meal, allowing trapped moisture to interact with degraded oils. When reheated in a microwave or oven, the uneven heating can accelerate chemical breakdown, producing more unstable compounds. Harvard Health emphasizes that oxidative products in oils are more likely to form when food is stored improperly or reheated at high temperatures repeatedly. These compounds are not immediately harmful in small amounts, but if they become a consistent part of your diet, they can slowly increase oxidative stress, which is linked to inflammation and metabolic strain. Later, we'll discuss simple habits that minimize these risks while still allowing you to enjoy your favorite foods occasionally. Practical strategies to reduce strain include limiting deep-fried foods to occasional treats and avoiding repeated reheating. If reheating is necessary, using lower heat or steaming the food can reduce further oxidation. Pairing fried foods with vegetables or fiber-rich sides slows digestion and reduces sudden spikes in blood sugar, giving the pancreas a more manageable workload. Daily lifestyle factors also play a role. Regular physical activity, adequate hydration, quality sleep, and stress management can all support the pancreas in handling metabolic demands efficiently. For example, a brief walk after meals has been shown to improve blood sugar control, reducing insulin spikes, and relieving stress on the pancreas. By understanding how reheated fried foods and oils affect the body, you can make small but meaningful adjustments to protect long-term metabolic and digestive health. The key is moderation, proper reheating methods, and pairing these foods with nutrient-dense ingredients. This approach aligns with recommendations from Harvard Health, the WHO, the Cleveland Clinic, and PubMed research, which emphasize the importance of minimizing oxidized fats and managing overall dietary patterns to reduce inflammation and organ strain. Being aware of these factors allows you to continue enjoying fried foods occasionally without creating excessive stress on your body. Red meat, including beef, lamb, and pork, is a common part of many diets, prized for its protein and iron content. However, when red meat is cooked at high temperatures and then reheated, it can undergo chemical changes that may increase stress on your digestive system over time. According to research summarized by PubMed and health organizations like the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health, high heat cooking of red meat, grilling, pan-searing, or broiling produces compounds called heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. These compounds form when amino acids and creatine in meat react under high heat. Reheating cooked red meat, especially until browned again, can further concentrate these compounds, increasing the chemical load your body must process. Imagine the pancreas as a factory that quietly produces enzymes to digest food and insulin to manage blood sugar. Repeated exposure to these heat-altered compounds is like sending extra shipments of raw materials that require more energy and oversight, creating stress over time, even if nothing seems wrong immediately. A common mistake is slicing leftover steak or roast and frying it in a pan the next day until it is well done, under the impression that thorough reheating ensures safety. While thorough reheating kills most bacteria, it does not remove heat-generated compounds like HCAs and PAHs. The body absorbs these compounds, which can trigger mild inflammatory responses. Harvard Health notes that chronic inflammation, even at low levels, contributes to long-term metabolic strain and oxidative stress. Over time, repeated exposure can place additional demands on the pancreas, which must coordinate enzyme production and insulin release in response to nutrient intake. This is not an immediate danger, but consistent patterns of exposure over years can make a noticeable difference in digestive efficiency and blood sugar regulation. Later, we'll see how combining red meat with other foods and lifestyle habits can help reduce the overall strain. Another factor is portion and frequency. Many people cook large amounts of meat at once, storing leftovers for several days and reheating multiple times. Each reheating cycle allows heat-induced compounds to accumulate further. PubMed research highlights that repeated heating can intensify chemical transformations in meat, altering its composition in ways that make digestion slightly more challenging and can increase the formation of oxidized fats. These changes force the pancreas and liver to work harder, especially when combined with high fat content or processed marinades, which add additional metabolic load. Later, we'll discuss strategies to enjoy red meat without overtaxing your system. Practical steps to reduce strain include reheating meat gently, avoiding repeated high-temperature reheating, and pairing it with fiber-rich vegetables and whole grains. Fiber slows digestion, reduces sharp blood sugar spikes, and eases the pancreas's workload. Harvard Health and the Mayo Clinic emphasize balanced dietary patterns, adequate hydration, regular physical activity, stress management, and proper sleep as ways to support pancreatic and metabolic health. Incorporating moderate exercise, such as a short walk after meals, can improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the burden on the pancreas, making it easier to handle occasional reheated meals. By understanding the chemical changes that occur in reheated red meat and their potential impact on the pancreas, you can make informed choices without eliminating these foods entirely. Eating red meat occasionally, reheating it carefully, and pairing it with nutrient-dense sides helps mitigate long-term risk. These recommendations align with guidance from PubMed Research, Harvard Health, and the Mayo Clinic, emphasizing moderation, proper cooking and reheating techniques, and supportive lifestyle habits to promote metabolic and digestive wellness. Small, consistent adjustments in food handling and daily routines can protect the pancreas from unnecessary stress while still allowing enjoyment of meals that include red meat. Creamy sauces, cheesy casseroles, gravies, and other high-fat leftovers are often comfort foods many people enjoy, but when reheated multiple times or stored improperly, they can place extra strain on the body, particularly the pancreas. High-fat foods require more digestive effort because the pancreas produces enzymes like lipase to break down fats effectively. Harvard Health and the Cleveland Clinic explain that consuming large amounts of fats in a single meal, especially when reheated, can slow digestion and cause prolonged metabolic stress. When these foods are reheated repeatedly, the chemical structure of fats can change, producing oxidized fats that contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. Think of it like asking a machine to process heavier, denser materials repeatedly without rest. Over time, the workload can accumulate and affect performance. In a moment, we'll discuss why timing, portion control, and storage methods can make a big difference. Later, you'll learn lifestyle adjustments that further support pancreatic health and reduce long-term strain. It's important to remember this video is for educational purposes and not a substitute for professional medical advice. A frequent mistake many people make is storing creamy leftovers in large containers and reheating them multiple times throughout the week, sometimes even eating them late at night. Not only does repeated reheating increase the oxidation of fats, but consuming these meals close to bedtime can interfere with digestion and disrupt blood sugar regulation. PubMed studies highlight that eating high-fat meals late in the day can increase postprandial insulin demands, placing additional stress on the pancreas. Over time, this pattern may contribute to metabolic strain and affect overall digestive efficiency. Organizations like the NIH and Mayo Clinic emphasize that long-term organ health depends not only on what we eat, but also on how foods are prepared, stored, and consumed. Later, we'll see why pairing high-fat meals with fiber and protein can reduce this stress significantly. Another overlooked factor is the combination of fats with refined carbohydrates. Creamy pasta dishes, cheesy casseroles, and certain gravies often contain starches and sugars alongside high-fat content. This combination can cause sharper blood sugar spikes, forcing the pancreas to release more insulin to manage glucose levels. Harvard Health highlights that repeated insulin spikes over time increase metabolic demand and may contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation. The body's response is not immediate, but the cumulative effect of these dietary patterns over months and years can make a noticeable difference in pancreatic workload. Later, we'll discuss practical strategies to enjoy these comfort foods occasionally while minimizing stress on the digestive system. Practical habits to reduce risk include storing creamy foods properly in airtight containers, refrigerating promptly after cooking, and reheating only once. Pairing these dishes with vegetables, lean proteins, and fiber slows digestion, reduces blood sugar spikes, and eases the pancreas's workload. Cleveland Clinic and NHS guidelines also stress portion control and mindful eating as key strategies. Additionally, lifestyle factors like regular movement, proper sleep, hydration, and stress management support pancreatic efficiency. Even a short walk after a meal or incorporating consistent daily activity can improve insulin sensitivity and reduce oxidative stress, allowing your pancreas to function optimally while still enjoying your favorite meals. By understanding how creamy sauces and high-fat leftovers affect your body, you can continue to enjoy them in moderation without placing excessive stress on your pancreas. Attention to storage, reheating, portion control, and pairing with nutrient-dense foods, combined with supportive lifestyle habits, aligns with guidance from Harvard Health, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, NIH, and PubMed research. Small daily adjustments, such as refrigerating promptly, reheating carefully, and balancing meals with vegetables and protein, can make a significant difference in long-term digestive and metabolic health. Awareness and consistency in these habits protect the pancreas